They find like they need something to give them meaning. And many of my interviews talk to these ladies, they found this sport and it gave them meaning. Women who deal with abuse, women who deal with, you know, eating disorders, women dealing with maybe depression. And they found this sport because it was something that gave them a little bit hope. But then, we really wish that they get that same in return from the organizations they are in, like NPC, IFBB, OCB, whoever, promotes bodybuilding in general, organizations. And just in out there in the world, shouldn't be so judgmental. It's so easy to point your finger at somebody else. It's not like you. So not sitting back and say, hey, reach out to that person. Say, hey, why you do what you do? I mean,
Hey,
talk
give me
about
that
yourself.
drink.
Just I want to know because people are curious. There's some guys out there can be a little weird. Either you can be too possessive, or you can be a guy who just kind of be, turned off by it. But just sit and talk with these women one of these days. Ask them why they do what they do. Get, try to just get a perspective of who they are. And you get to learn a lot more from them.
Well, it's like Tina said, these girls that, this girl who particular goes to our gym, and and it was one girl yesterday in particular who walked by Tina's like, I love her, and her mom's like, what? And I'm like, Tina, you should go up to this girl because she just said something. And Tina went up to her and she goes, I love everything about you. I love everything that you do. And she's a young girl with her mom. But it's so rare because these girls are so fucking catty, and here's the thing. What I've realized, it's an envy thing. It's an envy thing. And Tina's like, I'm old enough to be your mom, for one. I got 3 kids. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I'm not trying to take no frat boy home.
Yeah,
That's all
I'll
I'm
be your
saying.
boy. I'll be your boy, Tina.
Look, it's not happening. And I think because everything is about, being that one. And so no matter if you're 40 or 50 or you're 12 or 10 or you're 16 or 21 or 22, every woman sees every woman as competition.
Yeah.
And when I first came into this sport, the first coach I ever had, her own my own friend, which was in her 70s at the time, looked at me dead in the face and said, Juliet does not want to see you succeed. She wants you to be a protege, but a protege that stays at one level, that is good enough for people to want to look like, but will never supersede her. So I went into my next show and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to eat rice cakes. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to do it my way and see what happens. I won the overall. I won my class for the first time. Juliet came backstage and she said, I went through your bag. Why are you eating chicken and rice? That's not what I told you to eat. I said, I also won my show too. She stormed off the stage. We go that night to eat, and her husband, which was actually Mr. Kansas, Charles Banks, many years, sat down across for her and said, you know what? It's time for you to let her have the reins. But you know what? You're too selfish to do that. And that was the first time that I have ever experienced what this sport could be like, because I had such a trust in her because she was my coach. I mean, if your coach doesn't have your best interest, who else? I mean, who can you trust, right? And
Yeah.
so I did. I let her go. And from that point on, I was like, you know what? You have told me over and over that this is something that I will never accomplish because I have to do this A, B, and C, and I'll never know the right people and I'll never be good enough. And honestly, she is the one that pushed me because I realized how much she hated me for being able to do what she could never do. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm always been an athlete. And I'm like, I love challenges. And that's why I love women's bodybuilding, because it's fucking hard. So at the end of the day, I'm willing to work and I'm willing to do what my coach tells me to. And I want people to look at me and be like, I could never be what you've been. That's what I want. And people do. They do that. And that's why they hate me, because they could never accomplish just the look that I brought this last session. We made a poster and put it up at my job. It says hot wings, cold beer, and muscle. And it's got my front lat spread. Either people look at it and go, oh my fucking God, or they look at it and go, wow, that's inspiring. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, I just don't even give a damn anymore. You can hate me if you want, but that's because I do what you can never do. And it may sound egotistical and it's not meant to be, It's just I'm not going to change who I am and what I do because you don't like the way I look. So
Would you say do you get more hate from women than men? Would you say, Tina?
absolutely. I get more
Really?
challenges from men. I get more hate from women.
Really? Interesting.
They're more like, hey, how much can you bench press? And I'll be like, well, I don't really bench press. Well, how much do you do, incline press? And then I'll tell them, they'll be like, damn. They're all about the numbers and the weight. Women are all about the look. Women don't like somebody that looks better than they do, or they don't like someone that they feel like is. And what I found out from this one girl at the gym, she's like, we feel like every girl in there is competition. If they're not our friend, they're competition. Well,
Wow.
I didn't know that's how the world was.
Yeah.
My
How do you
sister,
get
I was saying
competition
that
with the pros?
last week. Women are more like when it comes to female bodybuilders, women will attack the female bodybuilders than the men.
Hmm.
Yep,
I'm
absolutely. You're absolutely right.
What about like
Because
backstage in the show? Is there kind of like a strong iron sisterhood there? Do you think, or
I think I'm going to say it like this. When I first started, it was amazing, but it has gradually fallen back.
hmm.
When I first started, all of the girls who had been in it, Alicia, I always call her Fit Rock, Isabel.
Just lost her. Give
Oh,
her a
we
minute,
lost.
folks. Yeah, she give her a minute. She'll be back. But yeah, I think with women, there she goes. Okay,
I'm
what about to
sorry, I'm
say?
back. No, I said that, when like Helena in that day and age and Margie and all those girls, they were very inviting. They were very excited because they just wanted to keep women's bodybuilding going. The backstage was just way different. There was the camaraderie. But then after about the last, I don't know, I'd say 3 years, it's fallen off a lot. Um, when I'm backstage, not many talk to me. If we're not friends and we're just somebody who we know we compete against one another and we know about each other's life, it'll be a hey, what's up? But not a lot of conversation. That's just from my experience. So it's kind of sad. And, the camaraderie, like I said, I loved it when I first came in. It just doesn't seem that way anymore. And now that the Wings of Strength don't do, their sponsorships, we don't get time to really know one another anymore. And I think maybe that's part of it too. We got time to spend time in a hotel and work at a booth together and talk and learn about each other's lives. And we don't have that opportunity anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. That's the tough part because you know what? I think with men, guys could get in a fight with one another, and next you know we're buddies, we're cool, because I think
Do we need to
we
go to Walmart?
we find camaraderie among ourselves. Women, I think it's always that competition mindset about trying to be one better than the other. you know. And I think if there was more camaraderie, y'all could come together as a unit and stand together and say, you know what, we want just as much as the opportunity as the other divisions. We want, chance for shows, better prize money, things that can maybe motivate us to want to be part you know, of bodybuilding. And also maybe y'all can do something about maybe getting us more mainstream attention. Reach out to these companies and these podcasters or these, guys who run TV shows. Hey, let's try to maybe do a little something. Those things really. It's a lot of work needs to be done. But like I think the thing is that it has to be you have to be willing to do that work. You have to want to do the work. If you're not willing, not wanting, then nothing's going to happen. We got here from a man War 2000. He says, uh, "LOL, frat boy." Also, he says 2025 will be an interesting year. Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, he says, mic drop, Tina, you kind sing that Puff Daddy song to all your haters. You can hate me now, but I won't stop now. And he says, mic
That was
mic
funny.
drop, Tina, boom. Yeah, you can hate her now. It'll won't stop now. I hate you, you, die, motherfuckers, die, motherfuckers, die.
Are we really talking about P. Diddy right now?
Oh shit!
That's what I'm saying, right?
Hey,
Are we really talking about Diddy right now?
Hey, innocent until found guilty. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Well,
true.
he probably get pardoned because the next Trump president coming in. So
Oh
But
god.
Probably was at one of his sex parties or some shit.
Oh my
Don't be
god.
surprised. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
You want
Never
me to
be
go get you
surprised by
strips?
anything. But yeah, that thing is,
Like, no one-
if you don't understand something,
That's no certain
there's no
ties.
reason to hate it. We try to understand it. For the standpoint, if it doesn't you like, then hey, don't like it. Oh, my man David just left. Appreciate David for being here. Shout out to him. Appreciate the time he's given us. But if you don't like it, then don't say anything about it. Mind your business. Go on, move, live your life, do what you want to do. But the thing is, people are always gonna find something about something in this world they want to nitpick at and take pieces from it. Yeah, this, and yeah, that, yeah, that. But not taking the time and saying, hey, I want to learn what's this you're doing? Why you do it? Just try to get a point of view.
Here's my thing, and this is where after listening to everybody and saying, well, these guys need to come out, these guys need to do this, these guys do that. What really needs to happen is these girls who, David and Jeremy both said earlier, the guy who pumped life back into women's bodybuilding. I think of Angela Shaw, Angela Yo, and several of these girls need to schedule a meeting with Jake and says, what do we need to do as a cohesive group to get more money for our category, more shows for our category? Because it started off great. Because if he's the go-to guy, because he's the one that brought it back, he's the man behind the money behind the machine. What better person to go to and ask the questions? Then if he sits there and says there's just not money, there's just no support in it, at least they know where they're at. But that's where it has to start off, in my opinion. You can't go to Jim Mannion because Jim Mannion got rid of women's bodybuilding. Tyler is newbie to it. Steve is just one of the, on the council. Sandy is just on the council. But if you really want to go back to it and say, how do we get more relevance in this sport that we call bodybuilding, in the IFBB and the NPC, that question has to be raised to Jake, and Jake has to be transparent and honest. Hey, it's fizzling out, it's dying, or give him or chances how to make the sport more relevant than when he first brought it back. Remember, it was on and popping when he first brought it back, shows and all this other stuff. But now it's reverting right back to where it was. So I think the person, because it ain't gonna be Jim Mannion, it's definitely not gonna be Dan Solomon. It's definitely not going to be Tyler. It's going to have to be Jake Woods, who these girls sit down with and be like, what's going on with our sport? How do we pump more blood into it, et cetera, et cetera? Or maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, brother, I know you're not crazy because really, yeah, it's up to Jake. He's the one who runs the Olympia now, and he's the one who saved it. And we not going to get anything from the Manions. Fuck them. I'm gonna say that. Fuck them. And from any other ones who don't care about the sport. But like I said again, there are people out there who do care, who do have the same means and purpose and maybe even the money to push it. But they got to be able to come out and also reach out to some of these competitors. You feel like if you're a fan of Andrea Shaw, or a fan like Alicia Young, or a fan like Maya Ash, or Angela Yo, or or even someone like a Tyler Cuejo or any of these other women, say, hey, I want to do something for your sport. And I have the means, the way to do it. Just send me the rate to the right person who I can talk to and see what we can do from there. Because
here's a crazy thing. I don't understand, they have the Chris Cremiers. I understand he's a legendary bodybuilder, the Tamer, all these guys doing all this shit at the Wings of Strength headquarters in Arizona. I just don't understand if there's guys like David and there's guys like Jeremy and there's guys like you and there's guys like Amazon, magazine, that are guys who are that are fans of women bodybuilding that could help them promote it, why wouldn't they reach out to you guys? And I've said this to you before, George, a long time ago. Why wouldn't they reach out to you guys? Because obviously you guys got a handle on the women's bodybuilding community more than most, and help and have you guys help, bring some notoriety and make sure that these girls like are coming on you guys' show, which is crazy to me. Like KL, I mean, I know KL's new to this, but for you guys that have been in this for a while, who understand the sport, it's like a closed mouth don't get fed. And so if you want to get fed, and this, it's so frustrating as a pro bodybuilder, as a male bodybuilder, which I know our sport's doing very well at, but understanding that these girls being scared or this, that, and the other, then you got to become more resourceful and be like, how do we, the person that I would say to go to is Jake. Jake is like, as you say, big bro, yo, Jake, what the fuck's going on, Jake? What the fuck's going on? You done pump blood into us, and now you're taking blood out the blood bank when our shit's, when we're low on supplies. I don't understand. Because that's the dude at the end of the day who sits there and says, I'm going to bring this back. I'm going to do this and do that. And I know he has his hands full now that he has Olympia and all this other stuff going on. But at the end of the day, you got two women. And actually I would be like, Linda, Alina, and Jake are three good resources. And two of those have been in the sport to be like, what is going on? What can we do? What can you guys do besides, I understand the sponsorship shit has gone away because the money is being spread out throughout the whole sport. But what can we do, or what do we need to do in order to create more shows, get more promoters to promote more shows, et cetera, et cetera? Because it's not going to happen it's not going to happen in any other case besides if they do that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is because me, guys like Jeremy and David and KL, we don't have the means, we don't have the money, we don't have the backing, we don't have the numbers.
I understand that, but you guys are the people. You guys are the people. Presidents don't get voted into office unless you got the people. You guys are the people, and these girls need to understand this. You guys are the people that are trying to make them stay relevant, right? That's all I see from all you guys' cast, trying to make them stay relevant, try to keep them in the people's eye, but they're not willing to do that. So in order to do that, there has to be some compromise between wings of strength, because they got money. They can bring you guys to show, to interview these girls, to do this and to do that, to get you guys back. Remember that guy, Amazon, remember they gave him a pass to the Olympia or something, And I said, to bring you guys on, because, yeah, you got all these people following all these other bullshit things, but they have nobody really truly got their hand in the pulse on women's bodybuilding. So I'm looking at from the standpoint, and I'm not just saying this, like, who has their pulse and understands this sport more than us? It would be the guys that I just mentioned, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. And can't forget the female bodybuilding channel is Didi. Where I mentioned, he said he'd been invited before. Ryan been invited before, but he don't want to do these shows and forget about it. But yeah, the female bodybuilding channel, that's also somebody who use promotion and attention. They really bring a lot to this. They do more of the news aspects of it. I respect their content. We might have different opinions on things, but I do respect content. This is from a man, Warrior says, probably shouldn't have mentioned Diddy or take that back. Yeah.
It's like mentioning R. Kelly. Jesus.
Hey, may hate the brother, but the brother could sing. Also, this is from Warrior says, haha, Keith, you took the Yo Jake book from George. That's funny, although you are right about everything you said. Yeah, like, Yo Jake, I want that money. I want that good. But one thing, that's something I want to do for somebody while I'm here. And shout out to Eunice. That's Eunice Kitchens Martinez in your Martinez Kitchen. She is the runner of Bad Rap. My birthday was a couple of weeks ago. It's about a couple of weeks ago. It was my 50th birthday. And she sent me a card. It's a nice little card, if you can see it here. She says on it, it says, urology department, can you hold? And shout out to Eunice. And she wrote something that says, dear George, I hope you celebrate your birthday with a lot of birthday greetings from the Muscle Ladies. I am sending, and on behalf of the Iron Sisters Hood how much we appreciate all you do to promote the sport of women's bodybuilding. You make the world of difference in so many lives, especially mine. My friend, may you enjoy the biggest piece of cake on your special day. Sending big hugs and a bicep flex and a smile. Happy birthday, George. Your friend Eunice. He says like your birthday, just relax and go with it, the flow. Bah ha ha ha. This is why sometimes I feel like why I'm purpose I'm doing this shit. I should just give up. But then when someone like Eunice takes the time out and send me that for my birthday. She sent me this a year ago for my birthday. When she saw you know, you know,
Andrea.
Andrea, at the Olympia, and she tried to sign it for me. These two things, and also other stuff I've gotten from some of the ladies who I've become friendly with, really, really, really mean a lot to me. It does. I do appreciate when I get this because it gives me um, that maybe strength to keep on doing what I'm doing. Where I should say, you know what, just say, just quit and just say, fuck it, I'm done. I don't care. Why should I keep fighting for y'all? Y'all not gonna fight for yourselves. But I do appreciate that when someone like you took the time out to send me that card. She didn't send me anything. I sent her one of my care packets because she did an interview with me a while back, and I sent it to thank you because I love seeing those care packets. So no, being competitive because Keith had gotten before, Tina had gotten before. I do that because I know it's almost expense to be in a bodybuilder, and I do it because I care. Because I can afford to do every now and then. It's charity. Here we got from a man where it says female bodybuilding is a niche sport. We may be a small community, but we will find methods of making sure that the sport gets attention, beginning in new fans.
Bringing.
Yeah, yeah. Also, this is from Warrior says, if Andrea Shaw ever comes on your channel for an interview, will you hold your composure, George, and not sweat and get all flustered over her because you keep it together? Be honest with me. No, I couldn't.
Can I ask you
But
something? What made you want to pick this topic out of curiosity?
well, like I said again, just I feel frustrated. Sometimes you just want to vent. Sometimes you just gotta let your shit off your chest. Because when I go see somebody post something like about, oh, they're giving $50,000 to bikini, and still hadn't announced that, hey, you're not going to add women's bodybuilding to your show, where there's a lot of women in the Pittsburgh area, because that's where they have Pittsburgh Pro. A lot of women in Pittsburgh area, in Pennsylvania, that would love to do a show, especially women's bodybuilding, who love to do a show like that close to home, and the opportunity to be on a big stage like that. But if you're still giving opportunities like you're getting up $200,000 for men's bodybuilding, you're giving up $50,000 for a bikini. You're adding on a pro am, a pro qualifier for natural competitors, which means you're gonna get more money. That you're telling me that you can't find the money for this one division that's been around just as long as men's bodybuilding. And it wasn't for that one division, you wouldn't have bikini, you wouldn't have figure, you wouldn't have fitness, you wouldn't have wellness. What I was saying is actually bikini, I keep saying this about bikini, they spawn off like fitness, figure, and physique. Bikini and wellness were brought in. They were, excuse my language, no, not excuse me. They are invasive species that came into the sport, and now it has adapted and become part of the sport. If you look at the bikini girls, like if I posted up earlier, you look at how bikini, like this, how this used to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
This is a show that I found. There's like a couple of, this is how it used to be. And now, if you look at this,
What year was? Oh, okay.
yeah,
I was gonna ask you what year was that?
this show was in 2022.
Oh, not too long
And
ago.
this was a show. This is Hooters. This is because they still do the bikini competition in
Oh,
Hooters.
I didn't know that they did it in
Yeah,
Hooters.
that's where it came from. Hooters and these other competitions they used to do
Oh,
back in the day.
wow.
But
Okay.
then look how this has evolved. This is Olympia.
Yeah.
Look at how it has evolved from that to this, from this to that,
Yeah.
and yet, you want to, give women's bodybuilding the short end of the stick. If it wasn't for that division, the others wouldn't have existed. And so again with bikini, it was brought in because they wanted to bring in a more feminine look. But now those women, some of those women, the everyday person was saying, hey, if they see these women like wearing, something like a tank top, they would say they're too muscular.
But I could chime in a little bit. But
Go ahead.
ever since I watched that movie, Pumping Iron 2, the way how they were prejudiced against certain women, how they was big. They kind of want to restrain certain things. So I mean, it's almost like it's kind of deja vu, if I could say that, because at some point, they didn't want them women too big. So, I mean, I really don't got too much. I'm not in that world like that, and I understand what Tina's saying. I really do, but at the same time, like, there's gonna be people that not gonna accept it. Like,
Wait.
I mean,
We say you are in this world as long as you're a fan. You do, even though you're not a competitor.
you know what I'm saying. I'm not a bodybuilder.
I know you're not a bodybuilder, but you are, as long as you're a fan and you do content on it, you are in the world. You're not a competitor.
Right.
But you are somebody who does content on it. You may not compete as a bodybuilder, but you are a fan. You follow the sport. You started to follow the sport bit by bit. You've gone to shows. You watch some of the pay-per-views every now and then. Your foot's in it already. You may not be competing at the shows or working out training, but you are in a way part of the world being a fan. Right. And that's the thing is, you are part of the world. You're just not part of that part of the world which you are a competitor. You know what I'm saying? We have a comment here. Shout out to my man Warriors. Thank you, brother, for sticking in there. It says, you're right, George, about bikini competitions and these athletes, although I don't think I would call them athletes because to me, they're models posing in athletes in the IFBB. But they are athletes still. They still work out and train. Every aspect of athlete, they still work out and train, even though they're more like I give the pageants. Even those women in pageants, they have to stay fit. You can't, you don't come in and just doing these pageants looking like anything. You have to stay fit. You have to train. I'm not a fan of the division, but I have talked to some ladies who do the divisions. Some ladies who are pros, some ladies who are amateurs.
It's not easy for them either,
Yeah. But like I said, they get more accepted, accepted compared to like women figure, physique, fitness, and even most definitely the ones who get most of it, women's bodybuilding. Right. But like I said, folks, this is just me venting, and I'm just getting shit off my chest because, and I often sit down and think about it. Why do I keep doing this? Is there a real purpose to me to talk about this? I could just maybe talk about something else. Maybe talk about real sports. Maybe I get more followers. I could talk about, politics. But sometimes I get tired of shit about politics. It's just crazy shit all the time. But I talk about this because this is something I'm a fan of. And then opportunity to meet some